An all-new Avatar experience is coming to Disneyland, and in today's video, I wanted to talk about the possibilities of what that might look like. So how about you and I dive right in? Well, hello everyone, and welcome back to another theme park obsession video. My name is Dylan, and thank you so much for tuning back into the channel. I figure why not head back to the park to talk about Avatar and be in nature. So yeah, let's just get right into it. A couple days ago at a Disney earnings call where they're reporting just kind of their quarterly earnings to all their investors and talking about how good the parks were doing and talking about how good the company's doing in general, which by the way, the Parks and Resorts division at the Walt Disney Company is doing very well. They recorded a very big profit in the Parks and Resorts division, which is very nice to see. And you know, I've been to the parks many times, Walt Disney World and Disneyland Resort, and yeah, the parks are crowded, people are spending money, so it doesn't come as a surprise when Bob Iger said that the parks were doing great. And another thing that's doing really well is Avatar 2, The Way of Water. That movie, at the time of filming this video, has already crossed $2.1 billion worldwide, which is a big chunk of change. So it makes sense that the Walt Disney Company wants to move forward with more Avatar in the Disney parks. People clearly love it, so why not give them more? And in addition to that, it makes sense in the theme park war space that, you know, the ball was thrown into Disney's court from Universal Studios Hollywood when they opened up Super Nintendo World. So it makes sense that Disney answers back with something that they want to do that's very big and ambitious, or just, you know, an experience in general. Theme parks are always wanting to compete with each other, especially on that kind of scale. So yeah, Disney's going to continue to invest in the parks, especially if they continue to see huge revenue jumps like that. I mean, $2 billion in revenue in the Parks and Resorts division, yeah, Disney's going to clearly keep investing because they know that if they do an increased capacity, people will continue to come back to the parks. And Again, it's a win-win for us consumers. The more that these theme parks battle it out to build the biggest and best thing, the more we win because we can go experience all of it. But honestly, the one thing that's kind of surprising is what location they were talking about. I was thinking, oh, they're going to announce something for Animal Kingdom as far as an expansion. No, they wanted to talk about Disneyland, and Iger was talking about an Avatar experience coming to the Disneyland Resort. Now, he didn't really mention anything about what the scale and scope of that project might be, but later on in the conference call, he did talk about the world of Pandora and bringing a version of that to the Disneyland Resort. So the first comment was, we're going to bring an Avatar experience to Disneyland. And then the second comment later on in the conference call was, we're going to bring a version of what you see at Animal Kingdom to the Disneyland Resort.
I'm thrilled to announce that we will be bringing an exciting Avatar experience to Disneyland. We'll be sharing more details on that very soon.
Lastly, we have learned that when we invest in increasing capacity, the Star Wars lands would be a good example of that. Pandora was a great example of that. We can grow our business. In fact, if you look at the results when we put Pandora at Animal Kingdom, from year to year, they were stunning in terms of how many more people visited Animal Kingdom. I mentioned on the call that we're going to bring a version of Avatar to Disneyland. We have other opportunities as well. I've talked to Josh tomorrow about this very recently, like this morning, again, to really look at all the great franchises of the company and see where we can invest in them in the parks to increase capacity while preserving guest satisfaction.
Now, an announcement like that definitely gets the gears in my head turning very quickly, because I start to wonder, well, where the heck would they put something like this if it's something on the larger scale? Now, they can definitely fit something on the smaller scale inside Disneyland or California Adventure, especially if it's like a walkthrough experience. But if it's something like what we see at Animal Kingdom, they're going to have to go beyond the berm. They're going to have to go beyond the boundaries of Disneyland Park and California Adventure Park. Now, let's start on the smaller scale of things. And I mean small, I mean like not a large land. I'm talking about a walkthrough experience. And we've seen a walkthrough experience before, and that's because they already have one in Singapore. It's called Avatar The Experience, and it's at Gardens by the Bay in Singapore. And I'd love to visit it one day to check it out. It looks like a very large-scale walkthrough attraction featuring animatronics. They have a big animatronic banshee, and the setting that it's in is very beautiful, and they have some still pieces that you can take photos with. So that gives us a really good idea of what Disney could possibly do, because the company that actually makes that walkthrough experience in Singapore has worked with Disney before. Now, a walkthrough attraction would be different at the Disneyland Resort because we normally don't see attractions like that, but I will say that Disney doesn't mind toying with the idea. Look what's happening at Epcot. They are building a outdoor walkthrough experience that has a bunch of water elements, and that's Journey of Water. So that's going to give us a really good idea of how Disney could implement a large-scale walkthrough experience in the theme park setting once Journey of Water opens. But that begs the question, will Disney go even farther with that concept and bring something like that to Disneyland, and this time maybe have it just be Avatar, because the movie is just so successful box office wise, and even the first one made so much money, and I feel like everyone on the planet knows about Avatar, hence why they built the Avatar land at Animal Kingdom. And when they did, and Iger even said this in the conference call, when they opened up Pandora at Animal Kingdom, the attendance shot through the roof at Animal Kingdom. So I feel like Disney wants to do that again, and whether it be a small experience like a walkthrough attraction or a large scale one, they're going to want to do as much as they can to increase capacity at the theme parks and get people into the parks as much as possible and get those returning guests. The walkthrough experience in Singapore is very neat, and they have some really beautiful settings that you walk through, and it really is a nice showcase of technology in there as well. And those are all things that Disney is very capable of doing. As far as placement for an attraction like this, a walkthrough experience, I could see them putting it in Fantasyland. I could see them putting it in the Innoventions building. I could see them putting it maybe somewhere at California Adventure. But the problem is with California Adventure, if you put something like that at California Adventure, it kind of starts to beg the question, well, why is it even called California Adventure if we're just going to start throwing random IP in it that has nothing to do with California? So, and I've said this before, that California Adventure needs a name change. I don't know what that name could be. You can go ahead and comment down below, but I think sometime in the future they should name California Adventure something else, especially if they start implementing different IP that has really nothing to do with California. Now, on the other end of things would be a large scale expansion, because in the conference call they talked about not eliminating capacity, they wanted to increase it at the parks. Bob Iger in the call did say that they want to do a version of what is seen at Animal Kingdom. So that tells me that they are toying around with the idea of a new land. Now, that land doesn't have to be the size of the one at Animal Kingdom. The land at Animal Kingdom is roughly 12 acres, and if you don't know how big 12 acres is, it's roughly the size of Cars Land. Cars Land is supposed to be 12 acres. And to give you more perspective, Galaxy's Edge at both Disneyland and Walt Disney World is about 14 acres. The Disneyland Resort can definitely do something a little bit smaller, maybe 9 or 10 acres, especially if you're only doing one attraction versus the two that they have at Animal Kingdom. And a lot of people are wondering, well, where the heck would you put this? And me included, I always kind of think, okay, well, where would they put a land on this size and scale at Disneyland? And there are some options available. Now remember, and some creators don't remember this, but Disney can be very ambitious with their plans. Disney can do sky is the limit sometimes. I mean, hey, this is the same company that built a mountain range that looks like a bunch of different Cadillac cars in the middle of a parking lot. So they will do what they can to be ambitious and really brainstorm a fantastic idea in a spot that you wouldn't even suspect it being in. So I'm thinking there are a few options for the world of Avatar, and it's either going to be in Tomorrowland, it's going to be behind Critter Country, or it's going to be at California Adventure. Now let's talk about the Tomorrowland spot first. And I'm talking about the spot where Autopia, the subs, and the old motorboat cruise area is. So that huge plot of land. It's mainly the spot where the monorail kind of weaves in and out of the trees. That spot is a potential expansion pad for either a big e-ticket attraction or maybe a new spot of Fantasyland, or in this case, maybe a little miniature version of Pandora. Now, back in July, Scott Trowbridge, who is a Walt Disney Imagineer, tweeted a photo, actually it wasn't a photo, it was a video of the old motorboat cruise area with the monorail driving by, and he just said, "at work, ... And that raised a lot of eyebrows in the theme park industry, because we were like, OMG, is something going to be happening right there? That's long been an expansion pad for something new at Disneyland. Are they finally working on something? Now, we could all just be reading a little too much into that. He could have just simply been taking a video saying he's at work, but he's a Walt Disney Imagineer. I mean, he's responsible for Galaxy's Edge, and also when he worked at Universal Studios, he was responsible for the Wizarding World. So this guy's capable of very grand things. And when an Imagineer tweets a video like that and leaves like this, either it could be a cryptic message, you start to wonder, well, okay, well, what the heck is going to be going on there? So I kind of link the Avatar announcement to that, and it could be a sign that, hey, maybe they're thinking of that particular spot in Disneyland for an Avatar expansion. There is plenty of space there to build a big e-ticket attraction and a little bits of a land. Again, they don't have to do something full scale like we see at Animal Kingdom, because again, Iger did say in the conference call that a version of it would be built at Disneyland. So a version of Pandora could be something on a smaller scale that would fit perfectly in that section of Disneyland. Now, they would have to do a lot of infrastructure work, including work to the monorail, to put something like that there. So that's why that is a potential spot, but there's also other options. The other option would be California Adventure. Now, California Adventure has a few expansion plots ready to go for anything, really. They can consolidate and they could build new experiences and lands if they want to. And we're going to be seeing that soon, actually, with the addition of the new Marvel attraction at Avengers Campus. We don't know when that's going to be built, but there is an expansion plot behind Avengers Campus that is pretty much locked and loaded and ready to go for a new e-ticket ride. But one spot in particular that I think Avatar could go in, Avatar could fit in, would be the Hollywood backlot area. That whole entire land could be reworked and reimagined, and they could put an Avatar experience there, whether it be a walkthrough experience or a large scale expansion like a land like we see at the other park. So huge plot of land, but again, brings up the question, well, would that even fit in California Adventure? Would it even make sense? Because California Adventure is going down this weird path of not even really having to do with California much anymore. And yeah, they could just put Pandora there, but at the same time, it's like, well, I think it makes a little bit more sense at Disneyland. I think the world of Avatar, the Pandora, makes a little bit more sense at Disneyland, because Disneyland is more of a mishmash of a bunch of different things, whereas California Adventure already just has a set theme to it. So now another spot that I think Avatar could go in, and I personally think would be a really good spot to go in, would be behind Splash Mountain in the downtown Disney parking lot. Now, in the Disneyland Forward project, we saw in concept that they took the downtown Disney parking lot space and used it as an expansion for Disneyland. And I'm thinking that if they want to do something very large in scale and very ambitious, like I was saying earlier, that Disney is fully capable of doing, that makes a little bit more sense behind Splash Mountain. Splash Mountain is going to be no more. They're turning it into Tiana's Bayou Adventure. And there's always been space, especially backstage right there, to create a pathway and make that a new gateway into something very large. I can already picture it through my head, like walking behind Critter Country through a very lush landscape like we've seen at Animal Kingdom, going across the bridge into Pandora. And our bridge would probably go over or under the street there and into the downtown Disney parking lot, and the downtown Disney parking lot would be Pandora. And they'd have plenty of room there to fit the e-ticket attraction, a nice quick service location, and maybe something else. Or they just want to do maybe one ride in a quick service, and that would be fine. But if they built a bridge that goes from backstage behind Splash Mountain, either over or under the street into the downtown Disney parking lot, that plot of land is pretty big enough to hold a Pandora. Putting Pandora behind Splash Mountain in the downtown Disney parking lot gives Disney an easy gateway point, and it also gives Disney the opportunity to blend together what we see by Tiana's Bayou Adventure and what we would see at Pandora. So it would be a really beautiful transition from over the bridge into this new world. And it's very similar to what we see at Animal Kingdom already. You know, the main thoroughfare of Discovery Island is right there, and when you cross the bridge into Pandora, it's a very seamless transition, and you instantly know, like, okay, we're in a different place in time. And they could do that right behind Splash Mountain. It gives Disney the opportunity to be ambitious. It gives them the opportunity to really go sky's the limit and be incredibly immersive. And that's what we love about the Disney parks, is they can be really immersive and engulf us in these environments. I love the Galaxy's Edge transitions. They're very good. All three of them are pretty good. And they could do the same thing with this if they really wanted to. And I think if they're going to bring an Avatar experience to the Disneyland Resort, I don't think Disney is going to go small. I think they're going to go very big. They're going to increase capacity, like Iger was saying on the call. And they're going to continue to wow people because they want people to come back to Disneyland. Disneyland already has a pretty good value as it is because of the amount of rides and attractions. But could you imagine if they added a Pandora with 1 or 2 attractions plus another quick service location in an already crowded like theme park when it comes to attraction wise? Like, it's pretty awesome. That would be pretty amazing. It's going to be very fun to watch because I think a lot of people would love to see a Pandora at the Disneyland Resort. And if they had enough space in that downtown Disney lot to really do some very creative things, we can see some beautiful attractions, especially because now we know what Pandora looks like on land and in the ocean. So yeah, I mean, you can really do some fun things. And the Avatar movies are going to continue to explore the world of Pandora. So they could honestly go sky's the limit with this. They could bring us to a whole new world. But I'm thinking that it would be a good idea to do something with water in this new edition. And also, I think it would be a good idea for Disney to expand the world of Pandora at Animal Kingdom. I mean, come on, let's do it. People want more Avatar. Give it to them. There's plenty of space out in Florida. They can go for miles and miles out in Florida when it comes to Avatar. They have plenty of room out there. So I'm hoping, fingers crossed, that they expand Pandora out there. But as far as Disneyland is concerned, they have a really good opportunity to possibly do something big and really blend both the movies well together. My money is on behind Splash Mountain. I think that's just the best spot, and it gives them more room to develop something. So I don't know if it's going to be inside the parks. I think it's going to be beyond the berm. If it's something big, it could be something small like a walkthrough experience like we were talking about earlier, like we see in Singapore, and they could put that in numerous different locations in the parks. But I'm thinking because Iger's back in the picture, they want to do something big, and Disney is fully capable of doing that. They want to stay competitive. I think we're going to see a full-scale land at Disneyland, and it might happen in that downtown Disney lot. I don't know. What do you think? Go ahead and comment down below. Do you think that Disney's just going to do a walkthrough experience, or do you think Disney's going to go big and make a new land at Disneyland, increasing capacity and ride count, which would be pretty awesome? But with that, I think that's going to do it for today's Armchair Imagineering video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, go ahead and smash the thumbs up button. And if you're new to the channel and you love these videos talking about Disneyland or just videos from the parks, because I have vlogs from all your favorites, consider subscribing because I have brand new videos every single week that you won't want to miss out on. I have an Instagram account. I'll leave that link down below in the description. Be sure to check that out. But until the next video, I hope you have a beautiful day, morning, evening, whatever it is. And I'll see you next time in the park. Bye.